Yeah, I love to talk, film, discuss, critique.
The box. You opened it. We came.
Yeah, buddy. What up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Blood Splatter Chatter Live, Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. We are here to talk Alien Romulus. Very excited for this one. Very, very excited. I was just telling the guys backstage. I rewatched the entire franchise. Well, some of them I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen Prometheus and Covenant. But I'm overfilled with info trying to cling on to all the knowledge that I learned on my rewatch of the franchise. But before we get into it, very excited for tomorrow night's show where we will be giving away this part 3 Jason mask, playing some trivia. We got a whole big panel coming to hang out with us, and we're gonna be talking part 3 and giving away this Jason mask to the winner in the chat of our trivia competition. So super stoked about that. And then hell, while we're up next week, nobody knows we're doing this, but fuck it, I'm buying the thing on Fandango, and we're doing Heretic. So we're gonna squeeze this.
Shit.
Yeah,
Let's go. I'm so hyped for that. Hell yeah.
So, yeah, me too, man. And then Terrifier 3 the next week, and then Nosferatu the week after that. So we're gonna be very
what a lineup.
We're gonna be very new movie heavy, and we kind of have been. But then we're gonna get into Fang Fest, and we're gonna be doing a bunch of old vampire movies, building up to some new vampire movies. So hell yeah! What up, everybody in the chat? And what up, Missing Link? How you doing, my brother?
Doing good, man. You think for whatever reason, Fang Fest had me think of. I don't think anyone's covered it. I know we've all seen it, but we're probably seen that one with Nicholas Hoult where he's like Warm Bodies.
Oh, Warm Bodies.
Yeah,
the zombie comedy.
Yeah, a little rom-com, zombie rom-com. I don't know why that popped in my head for Fang Fest, but just did. But no, I'm doing good. Excited.
Well, it's probably because Nicholas Holt's just been in 2 vampire movies.
He's
in Redfield, and he's
killing it right now, man. He's killing it. Yeah.
But no, I'm good, man. I'm excited to talk about this one. This has been probably one of the more enjoyable, one of my favorites of the year, to be honest. Like just based on I've watched it like 5 times now.
That was kind of my takeaway. It's super rewatchable.
Yes,
yes. It kind of feels like a Marvel movie. It feels very Disney. I didn't know going into it that this was made by Disney, but the second that the film opens, I'm like, God, this feels like Solo. It just looks like a Disney movie, and then going through it, like it's the most Disney feeling of the franchise, in my opinion. Obviously, it's made by Disney, but it's got like, I don't know, it's got more heart. It's still got the violence, but when I heard Fede Alvarez was directing, who did Evil Dead 2013 and Don't Breathe, I expected more blood and more guts, but then knowing it's Disney, it's like, okay, that combo makes sense. But what up, Stu, my brother? Happy you can be here.
Yeah, man, happy to join y'all. This was so I saw this one twice. I actually watched this one twice. I was kind of on the fence after my first watch about some things, but I rewatched it today, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I have to say I did. And I think, I don't know, we'll get into it, but I think a lot of the hate this film got is kind of unwarranted and overblown, and yeah, and I thought it was fantastic. So for me, it was a great first time watch. It made me want to go back into the franchise. It definitely made me want to rewatch Prometheus, which is a favorite of mine. So yeah, I don't know, happy to be here and really enjoyed this one.
Well, that was part of the reason why I did do a rewatch of the franchise. Like, I don't even think didn't remember Resurrection, and I hadn't seen Prometheus, hadn't seen Covenant. But like, one of the things when Romulus came out, and I went and saw it in the theater, and I really enjoyed it then. But one of the things everyone was talking about is, this one does a really good job of tying together the Ripley quadrilogy, like those first 4 movies, with the 2 Ridley Scott directed prequels, Prometheus and Covenant. And now that I've seen all those and I watched this, it's like, oh, okay, it ties it together. Was it worth cramming all the movies in? Was it that important for this movie? Maybe not, but that's what's kind of cool about it. If you've seen those movies, if you're a fan of Prometheus, you'll get it, and all the little bits. It touches on things from all the other movies.
Yeah, it's got something for everybody,
but it's not necessary at all. If you haven't
No.
seen those, you're not going to notice that you're missing shit at all.
That's what I'm saying. They're understated enough that like you said, like if you're not super familiar with it, it's going to pass you right by, but you're not going to miss anything per se. But at the same time, the hardcore fans of the genre are going to catch those things and really love and appreciate.
Totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I will say, just because I feel like I've heard mostly positive things. I know on DHS they covered it at the beginning of Horror Fest. I popped in at the very end of their chat there, and Dylan and Robbie were really hating on the third act. And obviously we'll get into that as we go through. But other than that, I mean, I've heard mostly good things. It's got an 80% on Rotten Tomato, a 7.1 on IMDb, and an 89%. I'll try to boost up the Google user rating. Okay, it didn't work. Still at 89%. I just gave it a thumbs up. But I mean, I don't know. I really honestly wanted to hit up Robbie before we got rolling and ask him, like, what was your guys' issue with the third act? And we'll get into that obviously as we go, but I think it's pretty cool. And one of my things was, oh, maybe it's it's not a xenomorph at the end, and it's this humanoid thing. But fuck, now that I've watched Prometheus and even Resurrection, it's always been a part of it. So I don't know what the issue with it was. And I kind of
dude, like suckling on the teat of like his dead mom per se was such a gnarly scene.
It might be bothersome for some people with third act is because it's like you said, we've seen it done before in certain other. I don't necessarily find it bad, but I did find myself thinking today, like, I wish, because there's like a certain part towards the end where I'm like, oh shit, it's not over,
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't engaging, but I was just shocked. I was like, oh shit, it's another act almost.
Right. Which is even going back to the original Alien, like that's a thing. She's in her underwear, she's getting, you know what I mean? She thinks it's over and they get a little extra bonus. What up, John? Always happy to see you in here, my brother. Appreciate you.
John, what up?
I'm thinking, like, I wish, because I think the first movie does that, but we kind of get to know, not that there's anything wrong with the cast, but they're kind of introduced and then it's like they're done, it's like I wish we kind of would know the rest of the crew and gotten to know their personalities, because they had some fine actors in this, but I feel like that was sacrificed for like the third. Like, you could have turned the third act down just a little bit. Not that I didn't like it, but I could certainly see why it doesn't go over with everybody,
Right.
Like,
dude,
it's not bad.
You know what I was thinking? Because I agree with you. I think the cast does a good job. And I had mentioned to you earlier when we were talking, this is the youngest, sexiest Alien cast. It's usually like older dudes and like it's you know what I mean? We've never had a cat. Yeah, I told Link earlier. It's usually a bunch of crusty old dudes and Sigourney Weaver walking around. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, they all just had their little thing. The one is pregnant. The one doesn't like synthetics. The one is banging the main character, and the other one is the one's brother or sister. So I mean, they really were super shallow. But I think the place to do that was in the first 39 minutes of the film, where we don't have any aliens, and it's all just this crew walking around this ship, like just adding in more interesting dialogue and all that. Like they set up their little things and what's going on, but it's so surface level. And like, you had all that time. Did you guys agree that the setup of the movie, before, like, it's 39 minutes into the film when we first get the face huggers in the water bit, up until that, everything is cool, but it's kind of just paint by numbers, like real simple. It reminded me of Don't Breathe, where it's like this, really written by Fede Alvarez. It's really generic. Oh, this girl's got to get her kid to California. And it's like, oh, this girl's got to get off this fucking planet with her droid brother. And it was just, I don't know. It was not bad at all. And it looked cool, but it was just the whole thing is a little bit more generic, or a lot more generic than Prometheus and Covenant.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's not nearly as heady.
100%.
It's more like a reminiscent of Aliens which makes me want to read this quote. Or
it's kind of like they were trying to aim for the they were trying to kind of enter like the teen horror genre with this one. Never tried before within the Alien franchise, to be honest.
And I think it worked because they made $350 million.
Yeah.
So whatever they tried to do fucking worked.
And okay, so maybe I could get this wrong, but wasn't this supposed to be like Prey originally, like the Hulu,
Yep.
just straight up Hulu release, and they pushed it to theaters?
Yeah, I tried to look into whether it was changed because of the success of Prey, because Prey didn't go to theaters, and everyone's like, "You should have put that in theaters," or was it that it was coming along so well? They're like, "Okay, let's make it a theatrical thing."
I think it was probably because of Prey's success. That's my guess.
Right. Fede's, his filmography is pretty impressive for not having done so much. Like, he's got some strong films.
Every one of them.
It could have been like an amalgamation where it's like they're like, he's very promising. Prey was, they might have really liked Romulus more than how Prey was turning out. Like, yo, this looks better, so let's push this for theaters.
Right.
It was
right.
I think that should have been in theaters.
Oh, I'm surprised Fede Alvarez. I mean, that's a good point. It's like, why do they ever want Fede Alvarez to make a straight to streaming movie?
Yeah,
he hasn't done a lot, but what he's done, he's a big name in horror.
Right,
people love his stuff. John's saying I've heard some wild reviews saying it's better than the Cameron film, which seems insane to me. I feel like those guys were just happy an Alien movie didn't suck. I mean, I don't know. I've got really mixed feelings about
I wouldn't put it above Aliens personally.
What up, Kenneth Bird? Ka to the motherfucking ka. I wouldn't either. I would say it's probably my Alien better, Aliens begrudgingly better. I'm not as big of an Alien fan as a lot of people, and this is blasphemy what I'm about to say. I feel like Bill Paxton does everything he can to try to destroy that movie. No way!
Oh wow, hot take, man.
Dude, he's so annoying in the whole movie. R.I.P. God rest his soul. Yeah, but he's really, 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 really annoying in that entire movie. I can't believe people love him. Like, he's a good guy. People like him, but I can't believe people like that performance. It's so over the top.
He was like a bonehead, that in Aliens, like he really was just like straight up muscle, a grunt, just an idiot, but ready for action. But that's why he's so amazing. He played his role too.
I love him.
So much. Like, it's like every scene.
I love it, though.
Every scene. Oh no! It's like, oh god, here we go again. Shut up. really. John saying, I
want to watch it. I want to watch it with you and just see watch you get annoyed every time.
Well, the other thing about that movie that I think is a little bit overrated, people are like, oh, Ripley, such a strong female character in that movie, and she is, but she also spends a good chunk of the movie just sitting there mothering Newt and not getting in on the action. And you take this strong female that in the first one isn't a mother, then you kind of reduce her to mother in Aliens, and people are like, yeah, it's like it's not as feminist of a movie that people think it is.
I like these grumpy Bruno things.
Paxton crushed it. He's so hilarious. Perfect.
Yes.
Spoil for Hicks. I mean, fair enough. And Hicks should have been a bigger thing in that movie. But all right. Moving in to this one, man. As we said, we pretty much hit what I wanted to say about the intro. Supposed to be on Hulu, ended up making $350 million in theaters on an $80 million budget. And it's set up where they're going to do a sequel that Fede Alvarez isn't quite signed on to yet, but they say he's going to sign on to it. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that in 2025, there's a FX series that's going to be on Hulu or Disney Plus, wherever you're at, that is Alien Earth, which takes place 2 years before the original Alien. And all we know about it is that a mysterious vessel crashes on Earth. So that's kind of interesting that it's like, okay, so we're going to have xenomorphs, I assume, xenomorphs on Earth before the original Alien.
Yeah, that's wild.
That timeline is kind of screwy. Like, I would think, oh, that's in the future. Aliens are finally showing up.
Right, exactly. Because everything has been off-world. So.
But I guess I don't know the status of Earth during the franchise. Like, what is it like on Earth?
Well, I may be getting it confused, but I thought Earth was not the place to be, since we were terraforming other planets.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing is I don't know. But I know they're going back to Earth.
And didn't the mineral shipment in what's it called that got destroyed? Wasn't that heading to Earth?
Yeah.
So there's still something. If they're hauling, 20 million tons of this mineral there, something.
Yeah. I think Earth is still like pretty earthy.
Yeah,
In
making it
the
happen,
franchise,
eking it out type of
like the
thing.
planet we see in this movie, that isn't Earth. Like, so there's clearly there's there's life on all sorts of planets, or at least human life
Yeah.
has colonized other planets. But what did you guys think? Just to get into it a little bit further. Well, let me just ask you. Like, we didn't really do that. Like, what's your overall thoughts on this one? You said you saw it 5 times, so clearly
Yeah,
you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I think I don't think it's the best of the franchise, but I think it's while I enjoy Covenant and Prometheus, I think it certainly returned to form. Like it kind of
Mhm.
balanced the whole deeper sci-fi aspects that Prometheus Covenant had going for it. I mean, it's not actually too deep of a sci-fi movie, but it's you've got xenomorphs galore in this one.
Right, right.
That's what people want. You're gonna love it. The cat, yeah, it's got a great cast. And like we said, the characters are shallow, a little bit shallow, but I think the actors do wonders for how shallow these characters. Like there's not one character I was like, they're all pretty cool to engaging to watch. They just, they did the best with what they had to work with. I was telling you before the show, I thought it was really neat that one of the characters, the pregnant girl, she played the Dora the Explorer in the live action Dora the Explorer movie. It's a gem of a movie. If you guys haven't seen it, like I know that sounds crazy, but it was actually pretty good. And then the main girl.
You guys in the chat didn't know you were going to get some Dora the
I
Explorer.
was just about to say that. Like, I did not think we would be talking about Dora today. That's awesome.
Main girl played in the show called Devs a few years ago, which I thought was really cool.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
So yeah, I like little connections like that because I didn't know when I seen this, I didn't know I had seen any of them before. It was only upon Wikipedia and them I was like, oh shit, I've seen them. Okay,
I didn't know anybody flat out. Which, by the way, you just made me think because you're talking like a return to. I was thinking of this like, oh, this is a way more mainstream alien movie than the last two, Covenant and especially probably Prometheus. But Prometheus made $403 million at the box office. I was kind of surprised by that, actually. Let me look up what
really
Alien
divisive.
Yeah, it's so. I bet a lot of those people left the theater disappointed. You know what I mean? Like, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely badass. But it's not a movie for everybody. It's not like directed at your regular Alien fan. And then Covenant made $240 million. So
what was the budget?
Both of them were the Prometheus was like 130 million, and Covenant was like right around 100 million. So bigger than this one. This was 80 million.
Yeah, when I seen Prometheus, I noticed like what the main complaint was like the whole xenomorph, not xenomorph at the end. But like with this one, I immediately was like, you've seen it done in Resurrection before. This time it's just being done by the dude who created it, Ridley Scott. It's his take on that whole that idea.
Right.
But I don't know. Like, I don't want to say it's a return to form because I did love Prometheus. I actually like Covenant, to be honest. More so the Michael Fassbender playing the two androids and their arc. That's what stands out to me the most in Covenant.
Totally.
But films, but I just feel like for people who really love like the Alien 1 through 3 or just want to see xenomorphs, this is a great movie for that. It's just really enjoyable. It's like a very good popcorn movie,
I think this is, for me, I think a lot of people would disagree and say Aliens is, but I think this is the most fun of all of them, probably. Maybe Aliens. I mean, Aliens is definitely fun too. It's the other one that has this level of fun. But then there's Resurrection. Resurrection is like it's borderline a comedy, but it's just not very good. So I wouldn't compare. I wouldn't put it up there with these two. But at the same time, dude, I could see people. I understand the criticism for this movie because it is a little bit more hollow than the other ones. It is a little bit more paint by number.
Yeah,
it's like there's something fucking about Disney where they're almost too perfect, where it's like the lighting is too good, like everything is like too wrapped up in a little bow so nicely all the time.
I would think that threw me off with this one because I was like, it was trying to evoke more of like aliens, the more gritty feel of it, but it gave me more of like the Prometheus Covenant where it's like more sterile, more of a clinical kind of feel to it. Like with this one, it wasn't bad, but I could tell they were kind of going for that grittiness. But like you said, it felt a little too too clean in certain aspects.
Right. It's something about the light. I was thinking like what makes it like that? And even like, well, Fede Alvarez wrote this. He's not like a Disney guy, but it goes to that Disney not marketing, but focus groups and like all the executive producers like, well, you know what you need here, Fede? If we make her pregnant and this guy is gonna be your brother or whatever, and like can we have the main character have some parents that are dead? It's kind of our thing here at Disney.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to kill her parents before the movie
That
starts.
bothered me because it's like that could have been an interesting little subplot, but like once again, it was like shallow characterization where it's like the best friend got his sister pregnant, but the best friend apparently didn't know. We didn't get shit about it. That could have been an interesting dynamic, you know, but
I didn't even notice it until the second watch through that he wasn't aware of it. Yeah.
And you knew it was over for the pregnant girl. As soon as a pregnant girl shows up in an alien movie, you know what time it is. Like, you know how that's gonna end. It's a wrap for her. I thought I agree with what you're saying about it being a return to form stuff because Vern, I'm going to do something you love to do. I'm going to tie it into comic books. You know, Prometheus and Covenant both felt very much like a Hickman grandiose. We're telling things on an epic scale, and I like how this thing kind of stripped it all back down to basic parts. You know what I mean? And did what this franchise does best. But yeah, I thought the set design was incredible. I thought it did a great job of paying homage to all the movies, whether like we said earlier, whether you noticed it or not. I thought. I don't know. I thought it was subtle in some cases. In some cases, it was a little bit overwrought and corny. I didn't like the bitch line. I don't know how, but yeah,
stupid.
It was just not necessary, right?
You know what I picked up on this most recent watch because it's stupid. No matter what, get away from her, you bitch.
And
like the way he pauses and kind of stumbles over it. Earlier in the movie, the one guy, Bjorn, the dickhead guy, he calls Andy a bitch. So it's like, okay.
I listened to a Fede Alvarez movie. He's like, we made sure that the robot heard him call. He was called a bitch 3 times. So it's like, all right.
Oh, 3 times. So I missed a couple.
In its defense, I think that like it was trying to kind of subtly explore, like, because you know, once again, picking up Prometheus and Covenant, like us creating artificial life, and it kind of, it does artificial life have feelings and can it develop feelings, things of that nature, like because he was programmed, you know. But even when she switched out his I was kind of confused about that. Like he still had the same personality, but he wasn't the same when she switched out the chips or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. It upgraded him and it changed his directive, but he was still like somewhat him in there. Like he was talking as Andy at times still. So yeah, it was confusing, but I think I kind of get it.
Yeah, I thought,
but that's just trying to defend that line because I was like, he's almost like a child, like learning, and I kind of felt like he was fighting against this program.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good point. I saw an interesting theory. If you guys remember in Prometheus, I can't remember their names. I think it's David is the first Michael Fassbender character, and in Covenant, there's another Michael Fassbender droid. Walter is less human, but he's the newer model, and he's telling David, is like, well, you were a little too human, you were freaking people out. And then in this one, Rook, the ash looking droid, he is saying to Andy, like, oh, you're like the OG something. He's kind of telling him you're the older model. It's an honor to be around you. So is he also kind of like David?
I would say. Yeah, he definitely had. I didn't actually pick up on that, but that's a good point. That would leave credits to the him being so, because I don't know, there's something about him, like he really wanted to be Big Brother and take care of old girl, or I forget her name, till the end.
Didn't he seem very David-like once he got his upgrade too?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it definitely, dude. One of the best. By the way, one of the best. I thought there were a couple movies or a couple scenes in this movie that did suspense really well, and that was one of them, man. Him like in the middle of the face hugger thing going on with like how he was reacting and his eyeballs all rolled up with like the logo on it. It was so creepy, man.
So badass.
So well done.
I really wondered how they did that. Like I feel like they did it where there was multiple screens. He does that and he freezes, and I feel like they like froze it and then had everything. There's no way that dude was just standing there that still. Is my point. You know what I mean? Like they had multiple things going on and everything else is moving, and he's like that. But yeah, the way the eyes rolled in the back of his head, and then when he reaches out and grabs the face,
grabs him by the tail. Yeah,
gangster, so gangster. Here's what I wanted to bring up next. It was a great segue into it. even while I'm watching the movie in the theater, I'm sitting there. And again, I hadn't seen all the movies at that point. I hadn't even seen some of them in years. But in the theater, I'm like, is he the best synthetic ever? Is he the best one? And he's the most lovable. He's the most Disney one. There's
Absolutely.
other ones that have some, you're kind of sympathetic toward, like you're a little bit sympathetic towards Bishop, but not as much. He doesn't have the heart. And there's bits with David and Walter where you've got sympathy for him to a degree, but none of them are as lovable as this guy.
Personal favorite Fassbender, though.
I mean, Fassbender's just like a fucking god tier actor, bro. Like, you know, put him on anything, you're gonna get.
I just love that those scenes in Prometheus where he would be combing his hair and watching those old black and white movies and like, you know, trying to kind of like learn the lingo type of deal. It was just so good.
Yeah, Jonathan Davis saying, I did not like creature designs. Everything else I like. Are you saying you didn't like the Offspring, this guy on the bottom left of the screen? Because I would say the Xenomorph creature design, it's like as good as it gets, man.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun, which is something I didn't know. Like in Prometheus and Covenant, like even that alien that you see on the cover of Covenant, that as far as I understand, that's not a Xenomorph. Like there is no this is the first time we've seen a Xenomorph in a movie since Resurrection. They're like branches behind the Xenomorph. They're like the things that evolved into the Xenomorph in those movies. And only in Covenant. You don't get anything like that in Prometheus.
So Prometheus that does take place before Alien, correct?
Yeah,
and Covenant.
Both and Covenant, yeah.
Okay.
And this one takes place, just to clarify perfectly, between 1 and 2. So Ripley's out there in cryo freeze, yeah. And I didn't even fully get that when I first saw the movie on a rewatch. I'm like, well, duh, I should have put this all together, you know, more clearly. But I did not know that wasn't Ash. I didn't know that was just another droid with the same model, you know. And what did you guys think of that before we move on? While I'm thinking of it, what did you think of them using that actor?
That CGI was rough. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it looked like shit.
It did. It's all good if his family was cool with it, but like I felt they could have gone a bunch of different other routes with it. But
it just wasn't necessary,
right?
Yeah, I felt like that it was them kind of trying to overkill, trying to tie, like you said, and it does in a lot of great ways, like them tying to every other Alien movie. I felt like it was them really trying to go back to the OG, you know, like, hey, we're very similar to the first one, you know,
right.
Like it could have been any other android that explained that information.
Yes.
You know, and we got that exposition from him from any other. It didn't even have to be someone we recognized. We could have got that exposition from elsewhere. But I feel like that I didn't mind it. You know, it's good fan service, but it's not like you said, not necessary.
It felt forced.
I think if they pulled it off, like for example, like when I watched Rogue One and Tarkin came out, I was like, badass. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
And he was too much of him. He played too much of an integral role in the plot, like where you were seeing a lot of him that didn't look good enough. It looked crazy. It was probably like the worst.
Tarkin shadows in Rogue One and shit too. Like they did it very nice, tasteful, you know. Like,
that's a good example of like how to do it versus how not to do it, I think.
Oh, you know, I didn't see this comment from me earlier. Covenant and Alien are definitely better. I would than this one. I assume you're saying. You know what? Covenant I see on a lot of people's, and I just watched it for the first time a few days ago. A lot of people have that on their like best horror movies of the 2010s list. I've seen it a lot. People,
I gotta check it out.
Well, I expected for it to be more Xenomorph heavy because you see the alien on the cover. You think it's going to be like more like this movie than it is like Prometheus, and it's a little closer to Prometheus from what I remember.
Yeah,
it's not. It's still like really
the advertising
thinker of a movie.
The advertising made it seem like it was like, because you know, Prometheus was divisive. We hate it or love it. Like it wasn't commercially like acceptable, like too acceptable. So this one, I felt like the advertising is really trying to like, hey, we're going back to what you're familiar with. But it was like a switch out, you know, because once you saw the movie, it was like you said, it was fallen plot threads left over. It was a sequel to Prometheus.
Totally, man.
But this one, Covenant was good though. I did like that one. Something I was gonna say funny about that one is James Franco, that guy. You know, I actually used to enjoy him, but you know,
we all did, right? Damn,
yeah. But he was in in the actual movie, you only see like his photo or some shit, like, or he's in that pod right before he gets fucking burnt because they can't get him out. But I remember they did something like cool around it before the movie came out, like leading up to it. It was either like a trailer or like a little short film they shot where it's like you saw James Franco mingling amongst the crew and talking to the crew, you know.
Right.
I thought it was such an interesting thing to do. You know, James, this is before James Franco got canceled and he's still a bankable guy. So it's like people who saw the movie probably didn't even notice that was James Franco in the fucking pod, you know?
Oh, it's so weird. Like I just watched it. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are they using James Franco in this? Like he's just in a picture at the end with everybody, and I'm like, what? Is he gonna pop up in this movie? And it's like, nope. By the way, I haven't heard that he got canceled, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. How bad is it?
He's on the shake. I'll say that. Seth Rogen isn't working with him anymore, so you know they did a bunch of shit together.
Yeah, fuck Seth Rogen. I don't fuck with him anymore. Anyway, shut the fuck up, Seth Rogen. Get off.
You love that laugh. You love it.
My man Jonathan Davis says, I thought xenomorphs, face huggers, all creatures look pretty janky. Bro, what the fuck are you smoking, Jonathan Davis? I thought it looked amazing. Dude. This is weirding me out going back to the franchise. We haven't seen any practical effects in this franchise in a long time.
Years.
Even like Resurrection had a ton of bad CG.
Terrible.
Even I think Alien 3 had some bad CG.
Dude, that shot of the face hugger when it was on top of what was her name?
I thought
girl, and it was breathing, dude. That was just like so unsettling.
Yeah, I thought
great. Fucked up. Great. The dude at the beginning when it's like trying to slide its little impregnator into his mouth.
Yeah, it's trying to keep it.
Yeah, so gnarly. It's like, I
forgot about that one.
It's so messed up, dude. I mean, it's just speaking on the creature. I'm not the first to say it, but the greatest design in the history of monsters. Like, name me a scarier looking monster.
That's so good.
Than the xenomorph, but it's like across the board. The face huggers look super cool. Even like the like in the original Alien, when they're entering they're investigating the crash site in the first place, just the design of the ship and how it's like organic mixed with mechanical. It's like the cool H.R. Giger, man. Like
and it felt like he went back to like kind of basics with his design. Dude, I love the part where he went up and tried to like stick the electric stick into the chrysalis or whatever. And like the look of that and like how it came out and got him, and then the acid blood like finished him off, dude. That was fantastic. It looked so good.
No, that looked amazing, but that pissed me off because I was kind of like, he didn't even fucking do it. I mean, he like that's how he goes out, but it's like he kind of went out like with a whimper, and I get it, but it's like we could have at least learned something about him if he's just gonna kind of go out like a meh, you know, because he's too fucking dumb. He's standing over it, you know. My whole time when he was sitting there like like get out the way, bro. You're not incapacitated. Like
roll over.
Well, even like that bugs me. Like when he's sitting like that, you see, psst, he would be like, he'd just do that. Like you would have to do that. He's just sitting there, oh no,
yeah.
That bugged me too. But it was still cool, and it did look pretty badass.
Yeah.
But he was silly as shit. I was gonna walk up to this thing and stick my little rod in there. Bro, get the fuck out of there. You silly bastard.
I feel like that. I don't know. I gotta say, like I gotta, you know, teach their own. But I feel like the effects were on point in this movie. Like I don't know. It's like the CGI wasn't overbearing. You know, they had to use some of it, but it's like I actually think one of the greatest shots in the movie is like towards the end when she's like doing the not halo dive, but she's hanging off the end of the ship, going through the asteroid belt and shit.
Badass. The whole third act. I almost want to like phone a friend and get Robbie in here. Be like, what did you not like about that third act? I think it's really bad. It's got to be the alien, but now that I've seen everything, I don't even get it. I don't get why. To me, that's I think it's the coolest. Like one of the cool things about the franchise. First of all, Ridley Scott is more interested in AI and our relationship with what it means to be human than he is in Aliens. Like he's on his Blade Runner shit. Covenant. That's what he's into. But like, and this is just me, I'm going to say this out loud and see if this makes sense. And this is what really happened. I love the idea now that I see like what the franchise has done, the way this is all created. There's the engineers, right? The big humanoid type characters. They come to Earth. They see the Earth. It eventually leads to humans. Humans create David, right? We have a synthetic. the synthetic then creates the xenomorphs through all of his experimentation. So like just that idea of them, the I don't know, the cyclical nature, I guess, of the way like it all started and how it keeps folding back on itself in a way and create like that's one of David's big things is that he can't create. These synthetics want to create, and then by the end he's a mother. And Prometheus, he's pulling out the face hugger eggs out of his mouth and shit. It's just like the craziest idea, and that's the Ridley Scottness of it all.
Like I like how it's kind of playing on that here with Andy and the black goo and the syringe, right? He's like trying to get old girl to take it originally, and she won't let him, and then she ends up doing it herself out of frustration, and like we all see what happens, what the end result is from that. But yeah, I love how even here it's like insidious intent with the android yet again.
Right. Hell yeah. Johnny Recaps, my brother. What up, man? Appreciate you stopping in, man.
That did I kind of wish they would have pushed I guess I gotta say that's like the Disneyism of it. It's like because they did kind of hint that the android was like kind of on some David shit where he's like, yeah, I don't care how you feel about this, you know, it needs to be done, so I'm gonna do it.
Right.
He was very cold to it, but then it's kind of they just kind of forgot about that, like his programming of feelings for won over, I guess. But I was always saying I was confused because it's like they took the chip out of him, but he still kind of initially kind of came off really cold, but initially he warmed back up, and then
right. Well, I'm kind of confused about it. All the times when he made like there was twice in the movie where he tried to make a sacrifice play where he wasn't going to let the one girl with the shaved head back in the ship. And then later on, he wouldn't open up the door to get the pregnant woman out. And those are the two times he still had the Rook's chip in his head, who's the other synthetic at the time, right?
Because it wasn't until the very end is when she finally took out that Rook chip.
Right.
Brown fucked up, you know. She's like, I promise I'll fix you. I promise I'll fix you. Just let me take it out. The first time he seemed a little unnecessarily cold, but the second time I was like, come on, bro. Like, even if you got feelings, like clearly he's speaking facts. Like you guys, it's a trap, you know. First time I was like, you know, maybe you can take her to whatever the planet was, and they can quarantine her. You know, killing her isn't the answer, brother. But
right at the one point he offers up something. Oh, it's because I know at this point, like he has the Rook chip in him. He's like, here, take this. It worked on the rat. It could work on you. And then Rain, which is the main character's name, she's like, wait, no, let's take her and blah, 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 do this plan. And he's like, out of the corner of his eyes, he's like, it could work. Like he looks evil as shit. It's like, yeah, he just seems so fucking nasty. I wanted to ask you, gentlemen, what did I want to? Oh, just that, like that idea. Like that's a thing. Like I'm pretty sure the way it's set up, like if you're driving a Tesla, like a self-driving car, and you have a bunch of kids pull out in front of you, and the only option is to like kill all these kids or send you off a cliff, that's programmed in there. Like Elon made that decision for us, or someone did. I don't know, but I don't know what the decision would be in that situation. But I think that is an actual thing. If it's not something we are contending with, we will be contending with it pretty soon.
I mean, no, because they've flirted with that idea. Well, and this isn't a very deep movie, but I, Robot, I remember that was like one of the themes is because, you know, Will Smith was so torn up about how it was like the robots, when he got say he was in a car crash and there was a young girl that the robot could have grabbed at the same, you know, they were close vicinity, but based on statistics, they're like, I've got a bet if I save Will Smith's character, I've got a better chance of. Right. I mean, you know, it was like for the prime directives. It wasn't based on most people. Person would have like, it's a child. I'm going to go for the child.
Right. I mean, all these things need to be programmed into the AI that is making these decisions. But what's the number? How many kids is worth a human life or an adult life? Like, I don't know. Like, but I feel like this is something we should all know. Well, we told it to do this. It's like we should know that ahead of time. I feel like
the algorithm.
Right. What is that? There needs to be transparency behind that, and maybe there is. I don't know. But it's definitely interesting. It's definitely.
I mean, you know, it's probably sounds like an asshole thing to say, but if I were in that situation of being in a smart car where it's either I go off a cliff or whoever's in the middle of the road gets hit, it's like, why are you in the middle of the road,
right?
Cliff in the first.
That's a good point. You know? That's a good point. But it's like, well, yeah, like exactly. But there's going to be some situation where it's not going to be their fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
car pushed them into the road or whatever. I mean, you're right, but
And I love the one scene when they want homegirls on the other side of the door and they're begging for him to open up the door, and he's like, no, that's what he wants us to do. He's waiting for us to do that. And like as he's saying that, they show us the xenomorph walking up, like there was such a great shot, you know what I mean, to kind of convey the reality of that situation. Like,
this movie had a lot of great like shot sequences, you know, like are just like cool shots or just cool like chase sequences. It wasn't over the top, but like especially towards the end, like when the xenomorph's finally like out doing its toying with them, you know, doing the cat and mouse thing. When he catches her in the event when the zero G turns on, bro, like, oh my god,
that's a
and
good
that whole,
jump scare.
yes,
Too. Like that one kind of got me. The other really good jump scare is at the end when you think that the offspring, which is what I think what they call the big humanoid looking guy, when you think he's gone, then all of a sudden, he's right in her face, like all the shit blown in his face.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, the first facehugger jump got me. That motherfucker came out of the water. I was not ready for it. I mean, I knew they were coming, but
damn it, they're dropping from their pods and shit. They're egg sacks. These guys are just making jokes.
And this is the most like face crawlers that we've seen in a movie by far. There's some other ones where they kind of use them a little bit more than others, but none of them have done what they did here. And this is the one that they've got mechanical. Like they made a bunch of these little mechanical things. That's why it's like, how could you not like the look of the facehuggers?
it's incredible.
Or the aliens. It's actual practical effects. It's like fucking perfect.
And didn't Alvarez bring back like the guys who worked on the original films or something?
Oh,
like
I don't
that,
know. I don't know.
I thought he did, but I could be wrong.
I didn't look into as much as I probably should have looked into, to be honest with you, bro.
No, it's all good. I could have sworn I saw in some roundtable conversation with people who worked on the film that some of them had been on past productions.
It would make sense. Like they look great. Like I don't know. Like I think the xenomorphs, facehuggers, everything, even the offspring looks cool. Like I can see why some people kind of like meh, you know, because some might be nostalgia for some because they've seen it in Resurrection. They might prefer the Resurrection design, even though shit's dated. They might prefer the Prometheus shit.
Well, I think it makes perfect like it adds up. Like he's a cross between he looks like an engineer.
Yes.
He looks more human than an engineer only because we see him smile, which is maybe the scariest part in any alien movie. Like that smile is fucking nightmare fuel.
I think I would have fainted at that point, bro. Like if I was that person, like, all right, we're like, no, I'm done. Take me, you know. I've got no fight left.
I think he looks awesome, but he also looks like deformed, like he's not right. Like, you know what I mean? His spine is kind of off center or something. Like it looks like he's in pain just existing.
Yeah. Once again, it's practical effects. They found a dude who's like fucking damn near 8 foot tall and put a lot of fucking great makeup on him, and
which is crazy.
Like, with Prometheus and Resurrection, I think that hybrid was definitely all CGI. To be honest, like especially in 2012, like everything was CGI.
Everything. I don't think that. There didn't seem to be any. Don't get me wrong; it's pretty good in those movies. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if there's any practical even in Covenant. It doesn't feel like it, but it is good. It's a major step up. Then, I mean, his Resurrection was the last thing before that. That's been a hot minute, but I don't know. I think it might be. You could make an argument that the alien looks better in this movie than any movie ever. Like even in the first one, there's some moments where it's like it looks pretty man in a suit-y, but it's like because that's what it is. It is a man in a suit. And it's like I don't know. The more you learn about the franchise too, and it's like
a slow reveal too.
It's a humanoid thing. You know, they have some of this. We're cousins. We have shared DNA with these xenomorphs, so it should be humanoid, which is so fucking cool.
I love that shot when like that little cocoon opens and you see it looking like a baby. You're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's such a great like, what the hell is going on shot?
It's cool.
So badass. Yeah. I love the just the action in the end. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't see the complaints with the third act. The action is crazy. We've touched on it. That whole bit at the very, very end is super badass. And then before that, the gravity purge bit. What'd you guys think of that? Here's my issue with it. And this happens in a lot of movies. Like you've got Alien. There's certain movies in the franchise where all it takes is one xenomorph, and he's gonna wreck shop. He's gonna kill everybody. You're only gonna get one survivor. And then in this situation, you've got one girl that's never used this weapon in her life, and she takes out like 40 of these fucking things, no problem. So it's like, what? Doesn't make sense.
I mean, maybe, you know, in my head, because we had lack of backstory for it, or deep backstory, because we got more backstory with her than anybody, but still
Right.
was very surface level. Maybe she had some training, or was like she completed her course to get off planet earlier than a lot of people. So it's clearly she
Right.
was
Well,
smarter than your
but she
person.
had her boyfriend explaining to her how to use it earlier.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, she didn't know shit about shit. Also, she's like, how did you learn this? And he goes, video games and magazines. I'm like, magazines? Like, you're flipping through a magazine in this futuristic setting? Like, that's weird.
All right, I'll say this: if she could reprogram an android to fit her service and her needs, you know, repurpose him for her needs, I feel like figuring out a
Fair
gun
enough.
it wouldn't
Fair,
be
and
too
it
complicated.
auto aims. Don't get me wrong. It auto
Yeah.
aims. It's doing all the work for you. But here's my point: that they took down that ship because it looks like there was just one alien that killed everybody on the ship.
When
And
it arrived,
I bet they had some motherfuckers that knew how to use those guns.
true.
And they had the
That
gun.
is
You know what I mean? But it was. I think it was probably one of the coolest.
It was the gravity.
that
The gravity made it work for me. Like, it
Yeah.
was like just shooting fish in a barrel. You know what I mean? I thought that was a cool effect to add to it. To me, that scene and the scene when they turned up the temperature and were trying to get through the face huggers, and like at the same time, Homegirl was trying to get through the door and was on the radio.
Yeah.
Like, the suspense in those two scenes was fantastic. Those were two.
I even the beginning, like this. That's what I'm saying. This was a solid movie that had some really like intense scenes. I mean, that's all credit to Fede Alvarez. He that's what he does best. But like even at the beginning when the face hugger, or not the face hugger, but the baby xenomorph is finally coming out of the chick's chest, and she's next to the pregnant girl, and
That was cool.
the shit fucking crash and the whiplash they go through, and it's just like it's like the momentum. This movie has great momentum. It's like everything leads into a worse situation.
Once it kicks off, it flies, man. And you're right. There's so much good action. The bit where the chest burster, where you're looking and seeing it with the X-ray vision.
That's great.
That's so damn cool. It's got some of the best action pieces in the entire franchise, like bar none, hands down.
Yeah,
But
great
it's like
moments of dread.
Link does a good point. Like this is what Fetty does, but it's also like not. That's what it's like so weird about it. Like this,
Right.
he does badass, intense stuff, but there's something about like a Marvel movie or a Star Wars movie, which is what this feels more like than anything. Is like a badass Star Wars movie, rated R, where there's all these different intricate things going on at the same time, like the elevator bit. You know what I mean? Where there's got all this different shit going on. You've got the acid over here, and the thing's got to fall. And there's, I don't know, there's a different kind of big blockbuster action the way it's written. I wonder how much of that is by committee. You know what I mean?
think
Like, how much do you lean on Disney in those moments?
I think the set pieces are definitely. I remember reading somewhere from Marvel. They said when Kevin Feige said something. This was like when MCU was like around Winter Soldier phase and shit. He was like, you know, we search for people that can find like the voice, the heart of the film. I was like, they don't need to worry about handling action like set pieces. Like we've got that down packed. You know, like you guys.
That's what it feels like, bro. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. Like it doesn't matter who you have in the director's chair. Like, yeah, we do the action shit. Sit down. When the blood needs to spray, we'll call you. Johnny Recap saying, for me, like Evil Dead 2013, Alvarez nails the aesthetics, but my issue is his stories. It feels like he cuts and pastes bits and pieces from the previous films without saying anything original himself. I think lore-wise, I mean, I agree with you. I think I agree with you pretty much all the way through. Everything he does just enough.
Yeah.
Like there's two bits of it. There's the lore, but we mentioned on the character stuff. It's just enough. It's just surface level, which is a shame because, like we said, I feel like there's so many. Like that main character is great. That main actress is really, really, really
She's
good.
So good. I love her.
She's got a lot there, and I like her quite a bit. But like compared to like Ray.
Oh,
like,
Ray,
you know what I mean? Like I just connect with her way more. We've got these quiet moments with her. There's something different about it. And I think this is a better performance than what we got from Ray.
Absolutely.
But there's something about it, like you don't get enough alone time with her, something like that. But then there's more, which is what he's talking about. Fetty doesn't have the brain to follow Prometheus and be like, yeah, then we're gonna fucking tackle human evolution and all these super deep themes.
But you know, then now that we brought up the committee bit, I don't know how much of it, because it's like I said, like maybe that third act or like a lot of the action set pieces were committee inputted, where he kind of wanted back and linger more on characters. Because like I said, like we were saying earlier, like the cast is great. Like for it to be so shallow and surface level, it's not like I'm ever mad when someone's talking, or it's like
Right.
they don't blend. It's not like they all sound the same. They all kind of are distinct. We just don't have enough personality about them. But I can't help but feel like that was kind of like on his behalf.
Right.
He was really putting more into like his casting and how they would execute the idea of the characters he had in his head for the story.
It's
And like, because there's a lot of set pieces in this bitch.
Totally.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
If this would have came out to streaming, wouldn't it have probably been the best streaming movie ever?
yeah, dude. Like I that's what I want to know. At what point was the decision made? What was the budget before the decision was made to go theatrical? Did it change? Was this always the budget? Like, I can't imagine a streaming movie having an $80 million budget. What did Prey have? Let me look that up.
I was just gonna say Prey had some really good effects. I mean, maybe it just did really well for its budget, but I remember being this is streaming,
Oh, well, budget $65 million for Prey.
It's way lower than
what the fuck how much money are they making on these streaming services?
I don't know.
I don't understand it, dude.
Neither do I.
Don't get it.
Neither do I.
All right, you guys want to rate this bad boy?
Yeah.
There's
something I wanted to say, but I forgot. But yeah, let's do it.
What do you got, Link? We'll start with you. What do you got out of 5? You guys in the chat, if you've seen Alien Romulus, what do you got?
I'll give this one a solid 4.25, only because I feel like for a lot of like alien enthusiasts that are looking for like the ideas that really Scott goes for this. Like I said, this is commercial. This is very crowd friendly.
Much more so than the last two. This one isn't going to give you all the answers, but it's going to entertain more people more.
Yes. So it's like if you're going into this looking for the original Alien, there's hints of it there, but it's definitely there. It's a popcorn movie, but it's a great popcorn movie. It's very entertaining. It doesn't ever feel like it's wasting your time. It does have some interesting ideas. They just never give it those ideas time to breathe. Like brought up about the android and him kind of fighting against his programming and stuff like that. Clearly, that's evident because that's what David did in fucking the Prometheus movies, but. It's visually it's just great. I don't see how anyone would go into this, and even if it's not your favorite, I don't feel like you would feel like it's wasted your time.
I don't see how anyone could hate it. Like, that's why it's got an 80% on Rotten Tomato. It's got like, it's hard to walk away and be like, well, that wasn't any good. It's like even if you didn't love it, it's like that did its job. I think
I'll give it a 4.5. Let me bump it up to that. I really enjoy this one. I definitely see how people could walk away and be like, I still preferred Alien or something. Maybe Aliens, but I think it's a very solid entry. Me
too. I think it's one of the best.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So a 4.5 from The Missing Link, Dr. Doom's fan club, my brother. Stupak the Slayer, lay it on me.
I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. I think it's super solid. Does a lot of great things. Just missing in a couple areas for me. Wasn't like 100%, but yeah, man, this was a great Alien movie, a great entry into the franchise. I think it definitely can stand up on its own. I think it does a great job of paying homage to everything that came before it. Whether it's overt or subvert or whatever the case may be, but regardless, man, if Alvarez made another Aliens film, I'd definitely be all in for it.
Yeah.
And
he is.
Yo, let me bring up that point about Ash Android real quick, just because you made me aware of that, Bruno, when you hit me up about it. It was like that's what I'm saying. They were so like, hey, look, we're connected to the original Aliens, and that one particular scene is like that was the original Ash. It was when you told me that's just a different Ash. It's the same model, just a different Android. I was like, oh fuck, I didn't even really think of that. I just kind of thought that, I don't know. I didn't really think too much of it on my first watch, where it's like,
because if you're not like super laser focused in at the beginning, you're just gonna assume that that's the ship it's the Nostromo.
Yes,
you know what I mean. It's easy to think that that's what's going on up there. Once you see Ash, you know what I mean. You're like, oh, okay. Like it threw me off altogether. Again, rewatching it, it's all there, but it's easy to miss.
Yeah,
for sure. At the very beginning. So, all right, we got a 4.5 from my brother Evan. Evan, I'm counting on you to win a mask tomorrow, man. I want you and Dylan in the chat winning a mask tomorrow when we do our
Send
Friday
it to
the
me.
13th part 3 show. I'm gonna give this thing a 4.25. I'm gonna go right in between you guys, man. I love it. I think it's like I've said, it's in the top half of the franchise. As far as like just pure entertainment, I'd say it's like the fucking maybe the most entertaining one next to maybe Aliens. And I like Alien better than Aliens, but Alien is a slow like movie. It's like it really builds up. It's very atmospheric and it's cool. It's great for that. But as far as being a popcorn blockbuster, like entertaining flick, this might be the best one because it doesn't have Bill Paxton trying to ruin the movie.
But you know, it fits the mold of the first one of them being in the trapped in the ship, claustrophobic corridors and shit. But it's action packed, like every other one tries to, from Alien 3, and so it strikes a nice balance.
You guys have both said that tonight. I think that's the best like stamp to put on it. It's the best like popcorn entertainment,
right,
in the franchise, like for sure.
Who can't you stand, Evan? I'm lost. I'm confused.
The dude that's a douchebag in the film. Is he talking about the dude who's a jerk to the android Andy and stuff?
Oh, maybe Bjorn.
He was an ass. Yeah. I was thinking like, calm down, dude. Jesus Christ! Like he didn't fuck your parents up. Like it wasn't
right. I know, and it was. How many times have we seen that in a Star Wars movie? There's always someone that doesn't like the droid. That's got some history with droids and shit. But I would say, like, I'll just kind of repeat myself. The biggest thing. Imagine that bit where the pregnant girl gets killed in that room and how impactful that could have been if we really cared about her. And they tried. Like I don't think it's Fede's strong point. Like they had some scenes like a little bit before that. There's a moment with her and the main character together, and it's like they just couldn't like build up enough to make us care. It was almost like they assumed we were going to care about those characters too quick. I will put them in there.
It did because like
they'll like them.
You meet them in that group scene, and like there's like you're just trying to remember who's who and who's like what everybody's name is. Like,
that's Fede's like a lot at once. It's because even like when I'm thinking of like Don't Breathe and shit, it's like beyond the main character, Fede has a problem. It's like even when there's multiple characters in the scene, it's like Fede has a problem making it not feel like just another hangout scene, like just a space filler. Like people are saying some witty dialogue and having a rapport with each other. Like he doesn't really know how to, beyond the main character, know how to make you care about. Because it's like when Don't Breathe, he was kind of a dick. Maybe he's written that way, but when old dude finally got taken out the dick, I was like, I don't give a shit,
Right.
Like I only really cared about the dude. And Don't Breathe.
You only care that he got killed because of girls' reaction to it. But that's what I'm saying, dude. I'll just repeat myself. We don't get any action until 39 minutes into this movie. And we're spending the majority of that with these characters that we're saying we don't know. We had all the time in the world. I was really thinking about on this most recent watch. They're just like strolling around the place, having little dialogue. It's like you guys should be talking about your lives a lot more. I mean, there's a little bit of it, but I don't know. They didn't really pull it off.
Why are you guys willing to risk so much? Like, because obviously they're facing a lot. If they got caught and this shit backfired in the face, they were facing a lot. And like, just kind of play video games and shit till
we know she's stuck there for another 6 years. She's supposed to leave. Same plot as Solo. What do you mean? I'm still an adventure servant. You know what I mean? It's the same shit. It's very paint by number.
Hey, I like that scene when she saw the sun though. That was like we needed more stuff like that to give us us those more like impactful character moments.
100%, man. So we got a 4.5 from Link, a 4 from Stu, a 4.25 from me, just to sit in the middle, and we have a huge show tomorrow night. Starting at 6:30 Central Time, Friday the 13th, part fucking 3. Getting together. We got Robbie here. We got the Missing Link. We got my buddy Eric from Two Geeks, Different Streets, and Wes from Wes Talk Movies, Wespresso on TikTok. And again, we're giving. Whoa, fix that shit. We're giving this bad boy away. This one is going to go to the winner of the trivia contest in the chat, and then I've got a few that I will give the crew here on the panel some options because they are going to win one as well. I custom made this. I should say it's like, you know what I mean?
Presents
So,
well,
so
though.
when people
That's
get it, it's not like some big, thick, like, fucking top of the line.
but
It started out as a really cheap mask, but it looks good.
I'm curious as
Yeah,
to
it looks
how
great,
maybe
dude.
that's how the actual ones they use on the movies feel as well. Like as long as it presents well, it looks good,
Right.
bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As long as it looks good on camera, that's all that matters. And then, I gotta bring. Whoa, I'm big. That's what's going on. And then, I'm really excited, man. I
I'm
just saw
glad.
that
Yeah,
this dropped
same.
on
I can't
Fandango a
wait.
couple days ago. So I'm gonna bite the bullet and I'm just gonna fucking buy this thing. Still, you've got my password, my info link. If you need it, let me know, and we're gonna watch a little. How do you guys say this word?
Heretic.
Heretic.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Heretic. Yeah. Heretic. I guess that's what I've been saying. But
I mean,
wasn't sure.
maybe it's one of those words where it's like live and live. It's spelled the same way,
Yeah,
but
like
pronounced differently. Yeah.
is heretic like no, that's heretical.
Yeah, I think it's
trying to
heretic.
of
It is
yeah.
heretic. You guys are right.
Yeah.
All right, hell yeah. And then just since I have him up here, just the rest of the year, man. Here's what we're doing for the rest of the year. We're going to be very 2024 heavy. We're doing Heretic on Thursday, followed by Terrifier 3. This will be the day after Christmas.
Excited.
Christmas
Hell
on a
yeah.
Wednesday. We'll be here on a Thursday night talking Terrifier 3. I'm so excited for that. And then we're going to try, I'm going to try going to the theater the following week.
Oh, we're going. We're
And
doing
got to.
this.
We're gonna get back together. We're gonna watch.
I can't wait.
Is that Skarsgård?
Nosferatu. That's Skarsgård, baby.
Oh my god, dude.
I didn't know
cannot
that,
wait.
bro. Like,
Oh,
okay.
it looks so good.
So excited, man. And this will be
I'm
the
so
kickoff
pumped.
for Fang Fest. So I haven't put together, I don't know exactly what we're doing for Fang Fest, but I'll tell you right now, I know some of what we're doing. We're starting with this one, and we're gonna do Near Dark versus the Lost Boys, arguably like the two biggest vampire movies of the 80s. Like Near Dark is the hipster movie to say, no, that's actually a way better movie than Lost Boys. Like call up Rock and Robbie right now. I guarantee you that's what we'll have to say. All the hipsters will. But so that'll be a good debate. And then there is no debate about a great show. Stu, tell people what you got going on.
Yeah, man. Every Wednesday night, 9:30 p.m. Me and E going over our favorite new comic book releases from the previous week. Marvel, DC, Image, and the Indies. We'll be live next Wednesday with Mr. Rock and Robbie Billups, but then we're gonna take a 2-week break for the holidays. Come back with a best of 2024 show for y'all. So yeah, tune in every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
Hell, mother!
And thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Great show, guys. Can't wait for the rest of this year, dude. What a lineup!
Me too, man. I'm glad we're all together and doing this. But again, Friday, tomorrow night, starting early, 6:30 Central Time, so an hour and a half early. The pregame to the hashtag Blame Fable and his Amazing Friends show. I'm just gonna keep saying the Amazing Friends bit. Appreciate you, Johnny Recaps. Appreciate you, man. Evan, thanks for being here as well. Stu, you big sexy son of a bitch, in the chat and the panel. Jonathan Davis, he didn't want to like the way the Xenomorphs looked. You silly bastard. But I respect you. John Comics with the Kids, my brother. Appreciate you being in here. Sal, my brother. E, my brother from another. And Kenneth Bird, man. Appreciate you. Rogue Collecting. You are not here. You have not been here. I'm taking notice. Rogue. You weren't here.
Rogue.
I'm not happy about it. It makes me feel terrible. But no, I'm just joking. I love you guys. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Go watch some Jason movies and have some fun. Appreciate you guys.